Hey, decision makers. Want to stay in the loop with exclusive content and the opportunity to be on the show? Text DECIDE to 218-432-9722 now, and let's get connected today.
For a really long time, I thought that there was something wrong with me because I did so much. But I found out that that's what kind of makes me unique. And I have a lot of different interests. So why not make time for those interests if I can, right? Keeping your health and yourself in mind, why not?
Welcome to the Just the Decision podcast, where we speak to our guests about the decisions they made in life, the good, the bad, the regrets, the decisions they're currently making, and the decisions they're going to make for the future. Subscribe, like, comment on the video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And remember, we're available on all streaming platforms.
Today, I have an amazing guest, one of my accountability partners, you could say, Miss Nia Andrews.
Hi.
What's going on?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Everything is going pretty good right now.
Cool. So I'm going to backtrack real quick. I have a shirt on that says, I speak dreams into existence. Shout out to Billionaire PA for this shirt. If you want to get one, go holla at him. And I speak to most of my dreams with Nia. So that's why I wore this shirt.
And then I wore this shirt because it's just the decision, Brian. I got this nice cream and burgundy color. Do you still offer it?
Yeah, I make them as needed now. I don't, it's a lot's going on. So the buying them bulk is settled down a tiny bit.
Put in your request today.
Yep. Cool. So the way we start this podcast, 2 questions.
Okay.
Simple. Might not be so simple. Your favorite dish and from where?
Okay, so my favorite dish is definitely a dragon roll. I love sushi. From where is kind of hard because I like to try them at different places. Everyone has like the same basis of what the dragon roll contains. So eel, avocado, cucumber. But I would say my favorite is... That's hard.
Yeah.
My favorite would be between tuna bar and fat salmon.
Are they both in Philly?
They're both in Philly.
Okay, cool. There's a roll waiting upstairs for Miss Andrews. Cool. Secondly, someone's going to write you a check.
Okay.
Whatever number you write on it, it's going to cash into your checkings, not your savings.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
What's the first thing you're going to spend it on?
The first thing, and it's an unlimited amount.
Whatever number you write on it.
Okay.
It's cash.
So I would buy a theater. That's what I would do. A nice theater in Philly, very similar to a black box theater, so that there could be an area for different dance schools to perform in, for different creatives and artists to perform in Philly, but for an affordable cost. So almost how like a co-op works, where you have to donate some hours to the grocery store to be able to reap the benefits of it. I would kind of want to do that the same, but with the theater.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I find like there's a lack of performance areas for smaller businesses or entrepreneurs or artists to affordably create, but have the tech, the lights, the sounds, all of the things, so that they can really maximize their performance.
Yeah.
So if I could just write an unlimited number on a check and then cash it, I would use it for that.
Sounds good. I would definitely book a room because going back to the affordability, it took like 2 or 3 months to buy everything for this room.
Yeah.
And I would love for everybody to be in this room, but we're in my row house, not my we're not my hidden house or something like that. So to have strangers in it, don't feel too comfortable. But I love the idea of a affordable space for a creative.
Yeah, and then even with this, there could be literally the same setup, but then an audience.
Yeah.
To try and have that interaction. Yeah, I know that there's some other podcasters and YouTubers who do that. But again, they have like a surplus of money to be able to afford that space. So if I could develop something like that, where maybe you donate 6 hours to audio engineering or to videography or to light design. And then that way you get that discount to be able to perform and have this space. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I like the donating at time if someone doesn't have the fund.
Yep.
I love that. Life's about transactions.
Yes.
Cool. So let's get into life decisions.
Okay.
What was little Nia like growing up?
Oh, she was very sassy. She was very sassy and very opinionated. My mom jokes with me all the time that I wanted to do everything. So I always had I'm a nurse by trade. I always had a passion for healthcare. So I wanted to be a doctor, a firefighter, and president.
Okay.
All at once, though. All at once.
Cool. Growing up, was your mom, dad around? Like, was it your only child household? What was that like?
Yeah, so it started out with just my mom, and then my mom and dad got married, had my little sister, but we're about 10 years apart. So I also have my older brother, and then, but his time was a little bit split at his mom's house too. So I somewhat grew up as an only child at first, and then that changed, but because of the age gap, it was a little bit different. So that's kind of how I grew up. But I grew up in a house full of love, very much a musical theater, entertaining house. Hence, sassy little Nia was a big personality. So that's kind of how I grew up.
An age gap is a real thing because I'm 33, and then you got my 21-year-old brother.
Yeah,
he lived in another house, but he came over whenever he wanted. And then you got the two little ones, but they're not little no more. 13 and 12. So
so that's actually a TikTok trend now too.
Okay. Oh wow.
So they'll show the older sibling, and then they'll say like 10 years later, and then they'll show their sibling that came a little bit later in life. Or sometimes there's like 20-year age gap, or there was one girl and she was like, it was a 10-year age gap. She showed one sibling. There was a 20-year age gap, and she showed another sibling, and was like, everyone thinks that this is my child. So I can understand the age gap.
That's cool. You're like, at that age, with that gap, you're like a voluntold babysitter. Like, you have no choice.
Yeah, sometimes I also feel like I'm like her second mom. Okay. I love you, Bria. But I am very blessed to have that, because I feel like she confides in me. I confide in her. We teach each other things that I feel like sometimes the age gap, I feel like a grandma, I'm not so hip, but she keeps me young and fresh. But sometimes I do wish that we were closer in age, because I feel like we would really be attached at the hip growing up. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to have that bond with a sibling, because some people don't, I don't like, they're my brother and my sister, but the terminology of half brother and sister and half brother and sister and step.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, you really keep those terminologies out. That's your brother. That's your sister.
Right. I definitely grew up in a blended family, and that was a big thing that both my parents instilled in us, that this is your brother, this is your sister. You love each other. Yeah. You support each other. You respect each other. Family over everything. And so I technically do have half brothers and sisters and a stepbrother, but I don't look at it like that. Yeah. I have 7 siblings, and I love that. Yeah.
That's cool. So you said you had a theater household or arts household. What do you mean by that?
So I grew up creating in a lot of different facets. So my mom was a dance teacher. Well, not past tense was. She still teaches. So she also grew up with musical theater in a sense of acting, going on auditions. She was in theater camp. So when I was younger, my mom loved to watch musicals. So I grew up watching musicals. Okay. I've watched Cats longer than I can remember. My favorite is a chorus line, which if anyone's familiar with that musical, yes, I was singing all of the chorus line parts at 8 years old, and the dances included as well. And then whenever we had some downtime on the weekends, maybe a snow day or weather permitted us to be in the house, my dad also fed off of my mom's love for musical theater and acting, and we would be different characters. It was almost like a little charades thing.
Mm-hmm.
My dad would pretend that he was somebody else, and then he had different alter egos, and we all just would react to how he was acting or playing that day and just make different scenarios. So it was always really, really fun and vibrant in my house.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Growing up in the dance, did you enjoy it, or was it something like your parent forced you to do?
So it was a little forced at first.
Okay.
Especially because I kind of grew up a little bit I wasn't musically inclined at all. My mom had to really low-key beat rhythm into me.
Shout out to Miss Lonnie.
Shout out to Miss Lonnie. But over time, I did develop that love on my own.
Cool.
But funny story, my mom actually used to get kicked out of mass rehearsal whenever I would have my dances come up for recital performance time, because she would make me so nervous. So nervous. And she would have all the critiques for me afterwards. So my teachers were like, you know what, Lonnie, you have to excuse yourself when it's Nia's turn, because she's good. She's doing fine. But when you are here, she gets super nervous. And it still happens a little bit today. But it's part of me now. It's my passion. I love to dance. I love to create. I love to teach.
That's cool.
So I'm happy that my mom kind of forced rhythm into me.
Nice. When you say dance, do you have like a niche at dancing, or you do it all?
I do it all. However, I would, like, if I had to pick, my favorite would be Horton style modern dancing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite
what's
to do and to teach. So it's a form of modern dance. It's usually performed with no shoes on, and you're maybe conveying a story to the audience. And with the Horton style of dance, it was founded by Lester Horton.
Okay.
And it's centered around strength conditioning now in a lot of different studios, and also with more like dynamic movements. It's a very specific technique that I love. Sometimes I hate doing it, but I love teaching it, and it really has shaped my dance career.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's get into schooling. Elementary, middle, navigating those years of schooling. How was school like growing up?
So again, school was very, I would say, musical as well, and full of love. I grew up going to Montessori school and then Abington Friends. And
that means you're really smart.
Well, let my mom tell it. Abington Friends didn't teach me anything but how to be a kind person. But I also think that it taught me how to be a critical thinker.
Gotcha.
So I didn't learn the same way as some of my friends that I was growing up with a very rigid style of learning that was centered around the Philadelphia school district. It was different. So I think that's why my mom has kind of looked at it that way. But it just taught me how to be a contributor to society in a different way through love, compassion, and critical thinking. So it also allowed us to excel in an area that we were excelling in and kind of push us. So if they saw that you were really excelling in math, they would put you in different math courses, even if it didn't align with the curriculum that was just tailored to that grade. They would continue to push you, and you were able to go to more advanced levels if they saw that. And then vice versa, if they saw you were lacking in an area, they gave you some more tutoring and some more assistance. And it's centered around abolitionist ways. So they tried to put everyone on the same playing field and really embody equity and equality. So we didn't call our teachers by their last names.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be Mr. Daniels, it just would be Josh.
Wow.
So yes,
first name basis. I think that's a TikTok trend where people go around telling their high school teachers their first name, and they're like, "Excuse me, what'd you just say?"
Yep, it is. But that was reality for me.
Wow.
8th grade on down, and then after that, things changed very drastically for me, and my parents put me in public school.
Okay.
So I went to Central High School. 271 is my class number for all the Central Lancers. And it was very, 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 very different for me. I grew up with the same 60 kids in my class since the first grade.
Wow.
And everyone knew each other, their families, where they lived. We had a directory. And then I went to my individual freshman class being 600 students.
Wow.
I had to get on the bus. I walked in and there was a bell and I was freaking out because I was like, what is that? Oh, the fire alarm? And one of my friends was like, it's a bell. And I was like, for what? And he was like, to change classes. And I was like, why? Why is that a thing? Because growing up, we would either stay in the same class or a teacher would kindly tell us, let's move to this classroom. There was no bell. So it was very different for me. And honestly, the more that I'm learning about society, it's very like rigid and like prison-like, which I don't like at all. That's another story for a different time. And then also, Central High School was very, very diverse.
Okay.
So I was able to interact with people from different walks of life, different parts of the city, different cultures, ethnicities, religions. So I thought that I was going to die. I told my parents, I cried for like 2 weeks straight. I was like, please take me back to Abington Friends. I don't want to be at Central. But then I made some friends. I got more acclimated. And I think it was the best decision that my parents made for me.
So the Montessori, it was like had a partnership with Abington Friends, or is that the next step with that
Montessori.
school?
So I went to a Montessori school that was totally separate from Abington Friends first. And then I went to Abington Friends after.
Okay. Cool. High school, we're focused on academics? Were you focused on dance? Any social activities or...
Yeah, so I was in Pep Squad. That's like drill team for Central.
Okay.
And then I was kind of defiant as a high schooler. So I went to class sometimes. I did all of my work, though. I graduated with 3.8. I was very smart. But with that being said, Abington Friends taught me how to critically think, which I think as a high schooler, I used that a little bit to manipulate the system. So I thoroughly read what we were going to be graded on. I showed up for that and I did that, but maybe not every single class. Again, it was very different for me. I was meeting new friends. I just kind of wanted to fit in. So maybe those choices were reflecting that too. But I was always on top of my grades. I also did my little high school boyfriend's homework too. So I was like, if you're going to succeed, I'm going to succeed. We're going to succeed together and be a little force.
Did he have a 3.8 when at graduation?
You know what? I have no idea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he went to do like football things.
Okay.
So I don't know. I definitely know I think he at least had a 3.0. But we had these intense outlines with Mr. Hung for world history, like pages on pages on pages. And now that I'm saying it out loud, it was definitely plagiarism, but I was submitting his pages on pages of outlines too and doing mine too and just
changing some words
up.
Couple of them.
Yeah. Or like, I think it was also like he would do a chapter, I would do 2 chapters, and then we would just combine it together.
Okay.
Yeah, we were definitely finessing. But I just was trying to find myself. And I think also my home life was very strict too, that I saw an opportunity that I had a little bit of freedom at school, but in order to do that, I couldn't always go to class, which wasn't the best choice. But I got it together eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like an honesty hour. When you weren't in class, were you in school or you was leaving?
So it varied.
Okay.
Mom and Dad, please don't hate me. But it varied. Sometimes we would stay in school, me and my friends, and then sometimes we would go out. But when we would go out, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just like going to get food.
Oh, okay.
But not grabbing the food and coming back to school, eating the food wherever we wanted to get the food, and then coming back to school.
Okay. You ever dealt with truancy officers?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh, my goodness. My parents would murder me. Oh,
okay.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah. I've been stopped 3 times by truancy. But
yeah,
I'm a people person, so it was a half day. And then they would have to investigate the half day. And then by the time they do that, I'm already home.
Right. Yeah, no, I was not trying. No.
Okay.
No.
Yep. So being like, I guess the older siblings, Did you have anybody, I guess, older cousins that I guess directed your high school life, or you was just going with the flow?
You know what? Not any older cousins, but I had older dance sisters.
Okay.
I vividly remember me wanting to go to like their high schools. The let out was a thing. So one school would get out at one time, and they varied the times for the Philadelphia School District for the high schools. So if your friend's let out was at one time, maybe you would leave a little bit early so you could go there, or you would leave a little bit late so that you can meet your friend for the let out. So yeah, I remember that. Shout out to Shanique. I loved going to FLC to meet you.
Cool. So was it like an after school thing where everybody was just hanging out chilling, or okay.
And then a lot of times too, going to dance class was a thing because we all would come from different high schools, and then some of our friends would come with us. We would meet up at a central location, all go to dance school together, or all go get food and then go to dance school, and then we'd hang out at dance school for a little bit until our class started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we're senior year, graduation. What are you thinking about life? Because if high school was a little nervous, I can't imagine what you were thinking about becoming an adult.
Yeah, so high school, right?
Like you get the high school graduation, and then you're thinking about what's after. So like, I get an example. A lot of people either go to the military, you go to college, or you just go get that regular 9 to 5 and you start working. So what was your mindset like?
So it's funny that you say senior year of high school, because my parents were a little bit proactive in that sense that I wasn't thinking about that senior year of high school because I had to already think about it junior year.
Wow.
So all of that anxiety was centered around junior year. And
she was really, really smart.
Well, I also
is really, really smart.
Oh, thank you. But my family just wanted me to get scholarships to be prepared.
Okay.
So that we could minimize student loans, because I don't come from a wealthy family that could just pay my tuition. And they saw that I had, the grades and the intelligence to do so, and the talent. So you can't apply for scholarships, the good ones at least, back then. Your senior year, they were already gone.
Okay.
So junior year was centered around all of that. My mom wanted me to go to Hampton so bad. And I refused because she wanted me to go to Hampton. Okay. So bad. So, of course, me being a little defiant, I wanted to do everything that she didn't want me to do.
What was the ties to Hampton?
My mom graduated from Hampton, so she was an alumni. And she basically wanted me to do the same, follow in her footsteps, be on the dance team, all the things, create her legacy. And I was like, no. And then I really wanted to go to Penn State main campus, just like some of my girlfriends that I grew up dancing with. My big sisters growing up dancing. And then I also wanted to go to St. John's in New York. Okay. They had a really good dance team. At the time, I wanted to be a physician, so it seemed like they had a good program for that as well. But I actually ended up going to Westchester because I got a full ride.
Okay. Woo! So nice.
Thank you. I did not want to go to Westchester at first. Grateful that I did, because I met a lot of people. I've created a lot of connections, and I had a lot of really great experiences at Westchester that I think shaped me and who I am today. But I did not want to go to Westchester at all. My brother was at Westchester, and it was just too close to home for me. But that's what I did.
When you applied for the grants and scholarships your junior year, were you also applying to colleges? Like you got accepted your junior year to Westchester?
Correct.
Wow. I didn't know you could do that. Because sometimes you need that senior year to boost your GPA a little bit to
no, not me.
Get those.
And I also had the credits already too.
Oh, so you took a lot of AP classes?
Yeah, I had all the things. AP, MG, IB.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Now it's like cringeworthy to hear, because I feel like it is important to have those classes, especially if you see that you have a child that can excel in them. But also, I feel like it's just a stigma sometimes that I don't like, centered around mentally gifted curriculums. Like, I don't know. And I might be a little biased. I feel like, we should foster more of a loving culture. Mentally gifted insinuates that the other kids aren't.
Yeah.
And then you put the mentally gifted children on a track, and then other children can't get into that track sometimes.
Gotcha.
Even it might have been a home situation that was involved. It might have been, maybe they just learn in a different way. We see now that the standardized testing form of assessing children is not effective. So it kind of, at least back then, I'm not sure what's going on right now. Back then, I didn't like the stigma that was just centered around that mentally gifted. Oh.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just you test well.
Yeah.
Sometimes to me, it's just you test well. And maybe you have some extra support at home, and maybe your parents know that you need these classes to get scholarships and to get into different schools. But then there's other students who maybe should be in those classes but can't get in those classes because they don't have the tools or the resources to even know that they should sign up for them or find the track to find the steps to get on that track. So it's kind of like just setting some people up for failure. I don't know. I just feel like it should be more equal with things like that.
Yeah. Some people grow up fast in high school, so academics is not their priority.
Correct.
It's just to get by or just to get to graduation. And it's sad some people don't even get to graduation. But life works out, and they didn't need that high school education to figure out life.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, even the name in itself, those resilient kids who are getting themselves up every day, making the grades for their siblings, getting their siblings ready, making it to school on day, showing up every day. Honestly, those are the mentally gifted ones, because I don't know if I would be able to do that without the guidance of my parents.
Yeah.
But, here we are.
Cool. So, in terms of scholarships, you went to Westchester because you had a full ride, or were there how big, if your grades were that high and your grants and scholarships were that high, how long was your list of schools you applied to?
Honestly, I can't remember.
Okay.
But I did apply to a lot of them just to see what money was available, what programs were available, who accepted me. I got accepted to every college that I applied to, so I didn't. Yeah.
Did your high school or these grants and scholarships pay for those application fees, or was that all out of pocket?
No, I was really blessed to have an awesome counselor who all of those, they were all waived. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I applied to 2 because I was like $60.
Yeah.
And I was like one of the first people to really, I guess, intently make the decision to go to college. So I applied to the 2 RUs. I got invited to Rowan University. Okay. But I'm glad Rowan took me, because I don't think I would have made it at Rutgers, because, oh man, college was fun. I keep telling people. It took me 6 years to get a 4-year degree. I love college a little bit too much.
That's fair.
But and I don't know how I did Rutgers is not that far, but Rowan was down the highway, so just being able to come home when I wanted, and people were like, "Oh, I gotta take the bus home or the train home," and I'm like, "I'm hopping on this shuttle with my Rowan ID and go home." And I live right down the street from the Camden campus, so life was cool. College, how was freshman year?
Freshman year was intense. I can say that. It was very different. I had a lot of freedom, which I didn't have so much in high school. And then also just navigating friends and different friend groups was a little challenging too. Boys was very different, because at the time then you have men that you're actually dealing with, right?
Yeah.
So that was very different. And then also roommates. So I think I mentioned before, I low-key grew up as an only child for a period of life, and then things changed, but I always had my own room. And I, at one point, also had my own bathroom. So sharing with a roommate that I didn't know, who was from Hanover, was very different. Yeah, I did stay in a little bougie dorm, which I loved because I got the scholarship.
Okay, nice.
I had some wiggle room, but it was very different. I also was learning about who I was as a woman and the things that I needed to work on and how I wanted to show up. That was a hard learning curve. as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of academics, because being told to go to high school and it's a small setting and your teachers knew when you weren't in or out of class, how was the academic setting? Like, did you get that 4.0 freshman year or?
To be honest with you, I don't remember what my freshman GPA. I know overall I graduated like a 3.332.
Okay.
I can't remember. I know it was difficult though. So I was a cell molecular biology major on a pre-med track.
Okay.
Yes, it was very difficult. Class attendance was a thing.
Okay.
So you got a class participation grade, so I had to go.
Oh, wow.
And then also I am an auditory learner, and it was a lot of information to consume. I can honestly say in high school, a lot of the things that I was learning in high school, I had already learned in middle school. So it wasn't brand new information, or it was building off of information that I had already learned in high school. College, to me, it was a lot of more accelerated work, a lot of things that were very foreign to me. Even like with some of my bio and my chemistry classes, we were taking it to the next level. Some things were very much the same, but other things I was just like, okay, wait a second. And then testing was also very different. I'll never forget one of my quizzes was all false. And then it made you like mentally think,
wow,
well, all of the questions can't be false, right? No, they were. So it was like, okay, maybe this one's true. There's no way all my answers are all false. But it was true. That teacher, I think he actually passed, so God bless. He did that on purpose.
Wow.
Because he knew that most of us were going to be on the pre-med track or chemist. So with that, you need to critically think. And you need to be able to critically think for yourself, right? Because it could be new information that you're trying to gather and research upon. So, yeah.
That's a whole new world. So when in doubt, pick C.
Yes.
And
yeah, the whole test was C.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nuts.
So it was very different. It was hard. And then also, again, balancing the social life, too, because I was always told, get involved, get involved, get involved, get involved. And I kind of took that to heart and literally. So I was involved in a whole bunch. I had a really hard major. And then it was tough to navigate. Yeah.
I loved getting involved. There's a bag in that closet filled with all the free T-shirts that you could get when you would go to events, clubs. And someone I showed that bag to a friend the other day, and it was like, you can get a blanket made out of old T-shirts. Yeah. So I'm thinking about getting a blanket made with all the stuff because I was involved. Like, it was either a good thing or a bad thing you knew my name because I was either highly involved. It was like, yo, are you ever in class? And I'm like, maybe I have a 6:30, maybe I don't.
I'm cracking up.
Yeah, but college I love college. I wish I could go back.
I wish I could go back to college.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, it was fun.
Cool. So, did you work in college or?
So I had a little job. So I did work study in the biology department. So that was a little job. And then I also worked first I started working at the local YMCA, and I would walk there and I would teach dance. And then I started working at a local dance school that I actually teach at now. It's Balance Dance Center in Exton. Okay. And I started teaching classes there. Nice. So small jobs. I didn't have a full-time job or more of a traditional job. It was something that I did. Well, I did the work study once. I did the work study Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then dance was like a couple classes a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were highly, highly involved in college.
Oh, yeah.
In activities.
Yeah, like it's actually my 10-year anniversary for Miss Westchester. And when I was looking back on everything, they told me to list my clubs. And I was like, oh. I was like, oh, you were involved.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing earlier you said freshman year was figuring out men. So the young ladies watching the podcast, what are some advice from now looking back then that you would give young ladies getting into relationships in this college setting? Yes.
The biggest thing is do not sacrifice your friendships with your friends and even guy friends, your platonic friendships. Don't sacrifice them for a romantic one. Because, everyone's learning, growing, meeting new people in college. I was blessed to have the same boyfriend all of college. However, not everybody had that opportunity. And they were severing ties and relationships that they had with great guy friends and girlfriends because of a romantic relationship. And then it was kind of hard to rebuild that. And then they get out of college and it doesn't work with that particular partner. And then it's like, wait, where are all my friends? You cut them off. So my biggest thing would be, don't sacrifice your platonic relationships for a romantic one.
Thank you for that advice. So now, did you keep the molecular biology degree all 4 years, or did you end up changing
I
it?
actually ended up changing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was actually a kind of unfortunate story. So I was on this pre-med track and I went to the advisor and I just sat for like an assessment to see how I was doing. Westchester had like a 99% acceptance rate into med schools. And the advisor told me that he didn't think that I was good enough to be a physician and he didn't really think that my application was going to be, was going to stand out.
Wow.
And then I was struggling with animal histology really bad. And I was hearing all these different things about people becoming physicians, but taking it an alternative route to their major so that their GPAs could be higher, but also so that it could stand out in an interview. So what a lot of people were doing was psychology. And so you could talk about why you chose psychology as an undergrad major to then take you into med school or DO school and then be a physician from that route. So I entertained that for a little bit, and then I kind of just gave up, and I was like, psh. And then my best friend, I'll never forget at the time, Sam, she was like, you know what, Nia, we don't need this. Let's just cut this. Let's just go down to general bio and then see what happens. So I was like, okay. So we cut down to just general biology. And she actually ended up graduating before me because I was trying to get a women and gender studies minor and a dance minor.
Wow.
And I also was really confused as to what I wanted to do. However, she was like, nope, I'm going to apply to nursing schools and PA schools, and we'll see where we go from there. I ended up not doing that and like was kind of stuck for a little bit. I started becoming a teacher. And then I was like, Sam seems pretty okay in nursing school. I'm gonna try nursing school and PA school too. So I applied to both.
This was during Westchester, or you got to graduation with the biology? Got
to graduation with the biology major and the minor in dance. Dropped the women's studies minor. That didn't work out. It was too much. And then after teaching, I decided that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. So with that, like, is it post-schooling or advanced schooling? What would it be called if you do more school after college? Okay, post. Okay. Mm-hmm. How was that?
So it was interesting. I did an accelerated nursing program at Gwinnett Mercy, and it was very accelerated. Nursing school is already hard. And so squeezing it all into 15 months was even harder. And then also, I didn't have any clinical experience outside of what I was doing in school. So I was never like a candy striper or a CNA or an aide or a patient assistant.
Did you say candy striper?
Yeah.
What's a candy striper?
A candy striper, which is kind of funny. I'm dating myself. It's like outdated now. They don't really have candy stripers. Okay. But it was just basically you volunteer to go to the hospital and help out.
But like, what do you like? Are you wiping ass or
whatever? Really, whatever. Oh. Some people, you're not supposed to do CNA work because that's CNA's job.
Yeah,
but
I want to be a greeter.
You would be like a greeter, or like if a patient needed water, you bring water. Or if there was like something that the nurse needed help with, but wasn't necessarily clinical, you could assist with that. You could talk to a patient if they just needed someone to talk to.
So like volunteer hours type of thing.
Yes.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Where'd the term candy striper come?
No idea. I have no clue.
Cool.
Maybe somebody can help us.
Okay. Yeah, we have to Google or YouTube real quick. I'm gonna get a TV here soon, and we can start doing active
research,
critical thinking.
Oh, there we go.
Or research too. So we get to Is it graduation from Gwinnett Mercy?
Yeah.
Or so you get to graduation?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that nursing doctor decision still? Are you still?
So I go back and forth about it because I don't even really know if I want to be a nurse anymore right now. So there's that. But I can say that Western medicine and the way the healthcare system works here in America sometimes is very discouraging as a nurse. And I heard a lot of my friends who are physicians saying it's very discouraging from a physician standpoint as well. So I still go back and forth about it because maybe I would have a different opinion if I was a physician. But also maybe I would have a different opinion about nursing if I was in a different setting.
Yeah.
So I'm really 50-50 with that. Yeah.
Cool. After you got your nursing degree, what was life decisions like? Did you immediately apply to nursing jobs, or you were trying to figure life out?
So I was trying to figure life out. I also kind of ran into like a weird, rare situation with the board of nursing. I passed my exit exam. I got the green light to go, but for some reason, I wasn't able to get my initial license. It was really weird. I took my NCLEX. I passed them the first time, all the things. Thank you. Shout out to you, World, and ATI. But for some reason, it was like really difficult to get my numbers.
Okay.
So I actually was presented with a different opportunity to dance. And I went with a team to China, and I danced in China for a month.
Wow.
While I was trying to figure out what was going on with my nursing license and all the things. And I ended up, everything was fine. I had a really cool experience in China.
Okay.
And then I got my first job in the ER in Camden.
Where our paths have met.
Yes, that's how we met each other.
Yep.
In 2019.
Was it 2019? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going through the police academy in 2020.
Yep.
Wow. Cool.
A little baby nurse right at the height of the pandemic. Woo.
How was that?
Oh, it was awful. I thought I was going to die every day.
For real?
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
Again, didn't have much clinical experience. I did an accelerated program.
Okay.
So everything was very, very foreign. I had really great nurse mamas and nurse preceptor who really helped me out, and a manager who was very helpful. And I was very transparent from the beginning, too. I was like, I'm a fast learner, but I don't know anything. I really, truly don't know anything. And a nurse educator, too. Lisa was great, too. And they worked with me.
Yeah.
And I had to work a lot harder than sorry, my stomach is talking to me.
You're good.
I had to work a lot harder than some of my colleagues who were also new nurses, but we made it work. It just was a really scary, uncertain time. And then I also was like 30 pounds lighter. So the mask, too, was a problem because they weren't fitting me properly. I was failing all the tests. So I had to get this crazy respirator thing. And
the duck mask.
Yeah. No. The duck mask didn't fit right.
Wow.
I had to get a legit respirator.
Wow.
That had filters on it. Kind of like the EMS workers had.
Like people painting. Okay.
Similar to that. Yeah.
Wow.
And then also, it was just uncertain times. Things were changing all the time. And I was just learning ER nursing. So it was like, okay, not this anymore, but this, not this anymore, but this, and this means this. So it just was a lot. But it was trial by fire.
Okay.
And I learned a lot.
And you survived.
I survived.
Was it what's the thing that burns and then a phoenix?
Yep.
Got burnt at the job and then
rose from the ashes. Yeah.
Cool. So let's take a second. Incoming nurses that are first year have that feeling of, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. What's something you would say to them?
I would say find someone that you can trust and that you can lean on. There is like a saying that nurses eat their young, and sometimes that is true. But there's someone on your unit or on your team that will help you, that will guide you, who will take the time. If you are open to it and you vocalize that, who will help you. So just make sure you don't suffer in silence, and make sure if it's something that you don't know that you ask, because you will never be fired for being safe, but you will be fired for doing something that you weren't 100% sure about, did it anyway, and didn't check with someone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So first year of nursing, you're good. Now what year are you in nursing?
Right now?
Yeah.
5.
Let's do that. I was like, do that in 1922.
Well, 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming on 6.
How do you feel now, looking back then, was like,
Honestly, I think that I was really bold for just jumping into nursing and not having any like experience at all. If
Yeah.
I could go back, I probably would get like maybe a CNA job or a patient care job first,
Mm.
or a tech job in the ER first. Because that was really wild.
In terms of education in states,
Yeah.
is nursing like broad in all types, or was there a transition coming from PA to New Jersey?
No. You just take one test.
Okay.
You just have to apply reciprocity to different states through the Board of Nursing. But you don't have to take a test again.
Okay.
There are different laws for what nurses can and can't do in different states, and sometimes it does vary.
Okay.
So you just have to keep yourself abreast on that. But usually when you get to your facility, they give you training and they let you know what you are legally able to do and not do.
Okay.
Yeah. But you should look on your state board of nursing too to figure out what that is.
Cool. So I know in high school you were involved with a lot.
Yeah.
College you were involved with a lot.
Yeah.
In your adult world, I know you're involved with a lot.
Yeah.
What are some projects or organizations you're working with now?
So I'm a nurse. Right now I'm working in a health equity center and I'm also teaching. Teach pediatrics and nutrition. And then I also am a dance teacher. I teach out in Exton at Balance Dance Center, and then I do some freelance work in Philadelphia. So if somebody needs a choreographer or a sub, I contract myself out that way.
Nice.
And then I also am a part of Legacy of Hopes, and I mentoring Minds That Matter.
Okay.
And I'm the vice president of that. It is a nonprofit that helps alleviate different families that are affected by cancer as an emergency support fund. And then my role comes in with different schools with 7th and 8th graders to bring on different mentors for them to obtain tangible skills and then use them to create a project to help a cancer family in their area. I'm also part of the Miss Philadelphia Scholarship Organization. I'm part of their board. I am also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I sit.
Happy yesterday was Founders Day.
Founders
Yeah,
Day.
Yesterday was Founders Day.
You better know, the first and the finest. And then I'm an active member of that.
Okay.
So I don't hold a leadership position anymore. I took a step back with that, but I still am an active member.
Okay.
And do community service and help out when I can. I also sit on the board of the Ivy Legacy Foundation, which is technically a separate entity from my graduate chapter.
Okay.
And it is basically a fund that helps young boys and girls go to college.
Nice.
And I also am a part of the Miss Westchester University organization. I help out as an alumni with that.
Cool. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
You're So, just a fun fact. Your resume, is it one page or is it not one page?
It's technically 2 pages.
Okay.
And it's 2 pages because I also did travel nursing. So just showing that because a lot of different facilities, it's advantageous to show that you worked in different settings, especially with ER and trauma.
Cool.
So it's 2 pages.
Wow. So I see the pattern in your life is giving back and then furthering your education or what do you do for yourself?
Ooh, that's tough. For myself, I love. Oh, I forgot one thing. Oh my gosh. And this is what I actually like to do for myself. So I like to go out to eat with my girlfriends and create different fun settings for women to connect, network, and do some fun things. So I'm also a founding member of It's Always Galentine's.
Okay.
It's me and 3 of my dance sisters. We created it over the pandemic. And it was centered around Galentine's Day. So that's the day before Valentine's Day that you just spend and love on your gals. So it's always Galentine's Day so that you can love on your girlfriends, make new connections with other women who have similar morals and values, but not just on February 13th, but all the time.
Wow. Is there like a person that founded that day or is it just like
it comes
a
from,
group of girls?
I think it comes from, it's either The Office or Mean Girls. I'm blanking right now. And my partner, Shanique, usually makes the spiel and she always adds it And so I know she's going to be like, Nia, girl.
Okay.
But it's either The Office or Mean Girls. This is when the TV would come in handy.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah.
Cool. So with your job now, the equity,
The Health Equity Center.
Yeah. So what are you doing with that?
So I'm a patient care liaison and advocate. So basically, you would come into our office, you would get seen by the doctor, whatever recommendations they have, if there's any additional resources that you need as continuous care that can't happen right there, it comes to me. And I kind of assist with that. I also work with a social worker too. So if there's anyone who needs some additional support in terms of food, transportation, insurance, I'll give that stuff to her. And then I'll look and make appointments for people if they need like a urology appointment or follow-up screening, making sure they have the referrals and the authorization for that, refills on their medications, appointments if they need additional help with the doctors, following up with them after they get discharged from the hospital. So basically just being their best buddy to kind of help them empower themselves with their healthcare.
That's cool. You said furthering treatment. Like, I guess like you said in the beginning conversation, healthcare is a tready water type of system. Do they pay that out of pocket, or is it funded, insurance, or
so it all depends. It all depends. So our facility, regardless of your insurance, or if you don't have any, you can always come and see us. And then we'll kind of work things out from there.
Cool.
However, after that, unfortunately, it does become a little issue with insurance and things getting covered. But again, we kind of try and see if there's different avenues to help assist with that.
Okay.
But unfortunately, in America, it is very difficult to navigate certain procedures and follow-up specialties if you don't have health care.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where's your love for healthcare come into play?
I think my love kind of comes in with teaching and watching those aha moments and understanding what's really going on in their bodies.
Yeah.
And then giving them the tools to help themselves live healthier lives.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then backtrack a little bit. Did we talk about what you do for yourself? Because you talked about Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that's an event for other women to host an event. But I guess you could say, what do you do for yourself in balance of working so much, being involved with so much? Because I feel like a big topic nowadays is mental health. And it's like, what do you do for you if you're always doing for others?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I do have that. And going out to eat with my friends and just going to those fun things is something I consider doing for myself. But I can see why you say that because I'm also helping to curate those events. So I would say hot yoga. Yeah. I really enjoy hot yoga. People think I'm crazy because I go do yoga in like 103 weather, but 103 degree room, I should say. But it really helps me dig deep. It helps me feel empowered. It helps me feel like I accomplished something that was really hard. And then also at the end, you do like a vinyasana. So you like kind of just lay on your back, drop everything. You lay in silence. Your body starts to relax. Your mind starts to relax. And for me, that's how I get back to myself in that moment. And then at the end, usually the instructor will say, thank yourself for being here and taking this time for yourself. And I'm like, yeah, girl. I'm in my little child's pose. I give myself a little pat on the back. So I would say that. And then also making time to be with my friends and family and just kind of chill with them.
That's cool.
Is how I kind of get back to myself.
I did a hot yoga once.
Yeah.
The tips I would give is don't forget water.
Yeah.
And don't wear sweatpants. I'm thinking it's a regular yoga class.
On what you
I was drenched. I felt so disgusting. And not for myself. Sweating is sweaty. But like I was dripping and there was like a pool. And then the pool was like trickling to the person I was next to. And I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. She's like, nah, this is healthy. This is good.
That's the whole point. But, you want to sweat. You want to release those toxins. That's the whole thing. So funny story. I actually do hot yoga in long pants. And long sleeves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it breathable though?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
moisture wickening. So
Okay.
for me, I don't like when the sweat drips, so the
Oh,
fabric
yeah.
kind of absorbs it.
Ugh.
Or sometimes I'll have like a sports bra underneath to if I do get overheated a little bit.
Mhm.
But I do like to start out fully like clothes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some people don't,
it was
but
way too hot.
yeah. But that's the whole point.
Yeah.
I always tell people you have to give yourself 3 times with hot yoga before you decide you don't want to do it anymore.
All right.
Because the first time you're like, it's just unbearably hot.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. And then the second time you're like, okay, it's really hot, but now this is really hard. And then the third time you're like, okay, I already know it's hot. I already know it's hard. I already know the things that I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel prepared. So I always say, give it till that third time. And then if you really hate it after the third time, then yeah, okay, maybe hot yoga is not for you. But usually on that third time, people are like, oh, okay, I got it now. I'm cool. I want
Yeah.
to do this again. Yeah.
That first time was in 2014. So we're in 2025. So I guess I got to give that second and third try a chance
Yeah.
soon.
2 more times.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I thank you so much for sharing your life decisions. Being involved with so much, how do you choose what organization you want to be a part of or that say, should I invest my time into this organization?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So usually I will go and see if I even like the people who are going. See if I can even feel good energy and good vibes with those who are participating. And then kind of seeing what they're all about, their mission, their values, and seeing if it aligns with my morals and values to see if it's something that I want to continue. But I do like to go and just kind of immerse myself in the atmosphere to see if I get a good feeling, good energy from those who come. So, yeah.
Cool. Being in nursing for 6 years and wanting to transition to another, would you say career field or title, position?
Specialty.
Specialty?
Yeah.
What helped you make the decision to take the step or leap to go into the next position?
So, therapy, honestly. So I was talking with my therapist and I was feeling really burnt out. So I had a travel contract that ended in May and the travel assignment was beautiful, but I just was so worn out and tired, a little irritable, and I couldn't really figure out what it was. And through therapy, she helped me do some self-reflecting work and seeing that maybe, seeing different emergency situations and trauma kind of took a wear and tear on me. And she really encouraged me to think about the things that I really liked about ER medicine and the things that I was doing. And it was that teaching moment that I talked about earlier. So she encouraged me to kind of think about where else I could teach. So that's how I got into actual teaching. And then I was like, oh, okay, this isn't enough money. And a soror of mine, I also don't have my master's yet. So I think that it would be more money if and when I go back from a master's. And then a soror of mine actually was talking at chapter meeting about her health equity center. And it sounded like it was up my alley. And then I talked to her and asked her if there was any jobs available. Actually, I can't remember if she came to me or if I came to her, but we talked about jobs. And I sent her my resume and then I jumped on board from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we share a lot of goals and life events with each other. I know you like journaling. For that person that wants to start journaling, what's some things that they should focus on writing down so they don't feel as hard on themselves? And I don't like to use the word depression and stress, but to relieve a lot of thoughts in their heads.
Honestly, a brain dump is really good. Just literally putting whatever is on your mind on the paper first. Give yourself like maybe a minute to do that. Read over it and see if there's something that you can expand on.
Cool.
Yeah, just really simple that way. Give yourself a little timer, dump whatever's on your brain, and then go back, read it, and see if there's something you can expand upon.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you're involved with a lot of activities, organizations in your career field. What's the key to balancing it all?
So I would say just staying organized. For a really long time, I thought that there was something wrong with me because I did so much. And even from some of my friends, I've got some feedback. You just need to sit down. You don't need to do anything. But I found out that that's what kind of makes me unique. And I have a lot of different interests. So why not make time for those interests if I can, right? So staying organized, I'm kind of like an old lady in a sense that I have a physical planner,
Mhm.
like a hard planner that I write in every day. I take it with me. It's literally in my bag over there.
Mhm.
And I have it almost like a Bible.
Okay.
If I put it in there, I will be there. I look at it every morning to make
Mhm.
sure I'm doing the things that I'm doing, to make sure I'm on track and at the actual right location.
Mhm.
I struggled with that for a little while when I was working multiple nursing jobs. But yeah, just staying organized. I use my planner and then just reminding myself that it's really okay to do multiple different things. You don't, if it's not for you to have a 9 to 5, for those who can do a 9 to 5 and they fulfilled at one job, that's great. But if you don't feel fulfilled with a 9 to 5, clocking in to one location every day, then don't do it.
Mm.
If you're able to make that means somewhere else, if you're able to manage your time effectively and give yourself in different facets with, you know, keeping your health and yourself in mind, why not?
Wow. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
that last tip. I appreciate you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
One of my favorite people to talk about life with. So if someone wants to contact you and discuss any of the topics you talked about today,
Yeah.
how could they reach you?
You can reach me on social media platforms as Nia Michele, Nia, NIAMICHELE, 1L, and via email at niamichele1908@gmail.com.
Cool. Well, thank you for tuning in. See you on the next episode.